So yes, live on my page at 11. It is Sunday, and I have been traveling. I traveled to Vancouver and saw three clients and an old friend of mine. So I was super excited about that. I'm actually going to click on myself. And today I am prepared, but it's been a fast moving thing. Let's see if I can actually add myself and change it here. Get the little sound. Hold it. We'll just delete that. That's just so I can see if anybody joins me today. Today I am going to be talking about marketing and time management because I know we all suffer from this. There's never enough time in the day to get everything we want to do done. And one of the things I get told about myself and our services right now is that we are consistent. And the reason we're consistent is we have a strategy. So I thought I would just, why does this say just me? Oh, there's the cat. So sorry about that. I feel a little bit all over the place today. So as I said, in order for us to manage our time over here, in the last year, we've grown significantly and it's been lots of fun. But in order to do a good job with what we do, we have had to optimize our time. So I wanted to get on here today and talk about how we optimize our time so that maybe it can help you optimize your time. We use specific strategies, which is kind of neat. A long time ago, I did a video on something called Agile and Sprints and how we were going to start trying to manage our business. So we use a project management system called Trello. We pair Trello with Sprints, which comes from Agile, which is a project management system for developers. And it's a way to travel through tasks and reiterate what you haven't got done or how you're doing or what you want to improve on. So I was just going to go into that. So we create a Trello board. And in that Trello board, we list out all the tasks we have to do for that day or that project. Usually it's individual tasks, like, for instance, this. So I have another task to put my blog up, and I have, a task for research. And so we kind of lay out all our tasks, and it gets better over time because we know what we're doing and how long it'll take. And we lay out all these tasks that we're going to do, and we create this system. It's got a feel-good component to it, which is really great. So we end up taking those tasks and, putting a date due, usually when they're done, and moving them over to a done pile. And we use Trello, which if you do the little time management thing, it gives a little check mark so you can feel good. So it builds in some good feelings into what we're doing, so we want to go back and do it again. So that's the first thing we kind of do. Oh, I am seeing someone here. Well, thank you for the like. That's very sweet. As I said, I feel a little discombobulated today, and that's just because we were traveling and just got back, and it's just been busy, fun, busy, but busy in learning and doing. So tell me if you use project management tools to manage yourself or your business. I actually use this project management tool, Trello, to manage myself, all my personal stuff, my business, and I pair it with my calendar. And I do this because in the end, it creates this feel-good strategy, but I don't miss things because there are two things that happen when we don't manage our time, which is we miss things and we end up feeling bad because we miss things. So this is a great way not to miss those little things. And I know if you're running your business and you're doing your marketing, this stuff can get pretty overwhelming pretty quick. So as I said, my clients are always commenting on how consistent we are, and that's because of our plan. So so I'm going to go through the project management, which I did, the sprints, treating time as a movable block, Trello and your calendar, your most important task, and reviewing what you did. So yes, you're asking what Trello is. Trello, it's free, of course, because I am free first. So Trello is a great way. It's like little tiny cue cards in lists. So, and the way we do it is we literally have a week to week. So what am I going to get done this week? What am I going to get done next week in little tiny cards? And yeah, it's something you have to iterate over. This isn't a one time do thing, set it and forget it. But check out Trello. It is free, and it's a great way to get started. You know, if you're writing a blog post or something like that, you know, you're going to pick your topic, you're going to do some keyword research, you're going to write, you're going to do other research to see what other experts are saying. And so if you give yourself allotments of time and you actually put them in these little blocks, when you get them done, you can move over to the done pile versus just using your calendar. Now, that being said, we do pair our tasks with the Trello board and the Trello tasks, because that way we don't miss stuff. And that way when we have to move things around, it just makes it so much easier, because you catch, it's like a net. You catch the things that you're dropping. So the other thing we do is we treat time as movable blocks. So I think it's really interesting. I think as a human, we have this propensity to put something in a block of time and think we have to get it done. And I struggle anyway. I struggle with the moving of time. Now, somebody once said to me, time is like an elastic band. So if, say, you have a flood in your house, or a pipe breaks, or something happens, you have to take your dog to the vet, or your kids call you and you have to run out, your time expands for those things, right? And you do end up getting probably what you needed to get done that day done. But sometimes, you know, with the movement of things, if we put something on a calendar, we think it has to be there, it has to stay there, and we can't look at it like that. We have to think about our tasks with an 80-20 rule, right? We only can control 20% of our time. If we say that, even if we plan out all our time, if we know that there's just, you know, 20% that's your immovable tasks that they might move on your calendar, but they get done that day, right? And that's what happens when you get a flood or something. You look at all your tasks and you're like, okay, well, what needs to happen by the end of today and why? So treating your time as movable blocks and realizing that life is a whirlwind. We can't control it. We can't control it all, but we can control that 20%. And if we take that 20% and utilize it, and I'm going to get into how to utilize it the best way possible, but if we do that, what we'll accomplish will be so much more, right? I think it's all in the planning. What do you think? So yeah, okay. So then there's the pairing. So you play a match game. Basically, you look at your Trello board and you're like, well, what did I say I needed to get done? Will it go in my calendar? Because the thing about it is we have all these tasks, and you can't double up on tasks. You give a segment of time to something you want to accomplish, because how can you accomplish something if you don't give it a bit of time, right? So I mean, I did multitasking. I would put two tasks side by side, and, you know, I would often get neither done. So you take a little bit of time for each task that's in your Trello board, and you put it in your time, and it actually gets done. And if it has to be moved, that's fine. You know on your Trello board that it's not moving for the date you set. So I find that really helpful. And as you continually get things done and move them over to the done pile, you'll feel so good. If you don't know what Trello is, I would suggest going and just trying it, and then maybe looking at how people use it. There's lots of videos, and if you have questions, feel free to ask me. I know a lot of people use other systems. Right now, the names kind of have lost. Can't remember. But there are a bunch of different ones, so you just find out which one best suits you. I would highly recommend that, not only using a calendar, but also a time management system or a project management system. Well, it'll just make your world a lot better, I promise. Okay, so once you do the pairing and the time matching, you're going to see your weeks kind of get better and better, because you're gonna be able to see some accomplishment. I think one of the things as an entrepreneur that I struggled with in the beginning was you'd finish your day, you'd just be like, what did I do today? And it's a challenge, right? Like, and we want to feel accomplished. So by building this system out, you can feel more accomplished as time goes on. If you want me to share with you what my Trello board looks like, I can. More than happy to get more into kind of how I do things, because this is really an overview. But my next point, and this is my probably the most important point, although I think they're all important, but that's just me. So I have a MIP. I know, sounds weird. Could be a MIT, but it's your most important task or your most important project of the day. So every morning, without fail, and if I do miss it, then the next morning I feel it. So I ask myself, what is my most important task today? Whether it be for business or personal. And, maybe there's going to be 3. There could be 25. But realistically, if you keep asking yourself, what do I have to get done? Or if somebody's expecting something from you, or like, what is it that you have to succeed at by the end of the day? Well, it'll make you feel good. So if you do your most important task and you actually write it down, and then at the end of the day, you look and see if you completed it. Now, if you didn't complete it, it's not necessarily a big deal. It just means that there was probably a more important task. And as you keep doing this over and over, you'll get better at figuring out what your most important task is and accomplishing it. And so you want to take that time to ask yourself, what is your most important task, right? Now, it's really funny because we talk about project management stuff and time management, and I'm not going to lie, that this system will take you a little more time in the beginning to develop a system and a strategy where you're not missing things, where you're paying attention to what you need to move the needle forward in your business or in your life. Life is busy, and we're never going to have all the time in the world. And you know what? We get tired and things get pushed and moved. And in order to let things get pushed and moved by creating that 20% of dedication, knowing that the world is going to go by no matter what, and optimizing your time, it's going to make everything way better. And that brings me to my last point, which is review. So I used to just use my calendar, which was great. And, but one of the things is I missed a lot. And the other thing was, when I reviewed, sometimes what I put in my calendar didn't really match what I did because life gets in the way, right? Things move fast. But it was a really good way to start, to kind of plan out your day and see where things go. And then the very next step for us was to implement this Trello Sprints system with our calendar. And what that's given me the ability to do is to look back, and we're more consistent than we think with what we do when we spend time, when we have lunch. Our natural tendency or proclivity is to stay in our patterns. So we have to work at breaking patterns, but we also have to utilize those patterns for our success. So when are you most active? When are you most creative? So planning your marketing, you want to use calendar, a project management system, and you want to figure out what your most important tasks are and get those done, and then review the last week. Spend 5 minutes, look at what you're doing, look at how you're doing it, look at what you accomplished, because it's going to build over time. And I'm only 3 years in, and our system is working quite well. Don't get me wrong, we're tired sometimes and things move a lot, but we feel secure in what we're doing. We feel secure in how we're managing, and we feel secure in how we're moving forward. Now, at the end of 4 months, we usually go over our stuff and see what we'd like to change. We're adding things in. We're working with more people now. So yes, things change, right? And if you review your day, your week, your quarter, you're going to see, are you doing the things you want? How are you managing your time? How are you getting it done the way you want? Because I know that if you're like me, you've run out a lot of time and you wonder how people get it all done and show up and actually accomplish what they set out to do. And, speaking of this, at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of talk about goals and goal setting, and we don't hear a single thing about it now. Nobody's like, how are your goals going? Are you doing it? What's going on? But if you're reviewing your stuff, you know how you're doing. You know where you have to pivot. And so that's what I think the time management and marketing is all about. It's all about making sure you're taking the time to plan your time and then reviewing what you're doing, knowing what your most important tasks are, and reiterating over it, which again brings us back to the sprints, which is comes from Agile, which is a process where you get to reiterate over the things you've done, and so you can launch what you're doing. So that's my talk today. next week I am getting on here and talking about how Google Analytics can improve your SEO. I know I come on Sundays now instead of Saturdays. So, and I know the time doesn't work out for most people, but it works out for me, and I'm getting on here, and I'm really excited that I get to share this stuff with you. And I hope you will share your hacks with me about how you manage your time. So just to recap, I think the biggest takeaways here are, if you're not using Trello yet, check it out. And if you're not using a sprint system, that might be in your future. But deciding on your most important task and realizing that time is elastic and knowing that you only have 20% of your time to really get it done. And don't let that overwhelm you. It just means that there's lots of moving parts in our lives. And many of us want to have more than one business, or we want to grow our businesses and our marketing. And there is a system, and you're going to have to find the right system for you. But if you listen to people you like, and if you follow experts and other experts, and you find what resonates and try stuff, you'll get better. We're getting better every day. So that's it. As I said, next week is analytics, how to prove your SEO, improve. If you have joined me, share one of your hacks. I would love to know. And thank you so much. And Chanel, always good to connect with you. I'm so inspired by what you're doing and the fact that you're moving forward and the fact that we connected. It honestly makes me really happy, and I can't wait to see your progress. And anyone else out there, if you want to share your progress or what you're doing, definitely want to know. Okay, I'm out of here. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.